Well, hey, Gundam Maniacs, welcome to another episode of Gundam Explained. In this episode, I wanted to take a look at Gundam Evolve. I have it here on DVD. It's something I haven't really touched on much because apparently it's like a collection of stories from Gundam that kind of gives some either alternate explanations for things or some deeper details, so we'll dive into that. And also, because the first episode of Evolve, there's really not much to it, I'll go ahead and dive into that as well. Hey, but before we get started, if you haven't, please subscribe if you think this is a cool video. Give it a like. Check the link in the description for ways you can support the channel or join our Discord. We have a lot of fun there. Well, let's get started. All right, and some background here to understand what Gundam Evolve is, also known as Mobile Suit Gundam Evolve, is a series of short films set in the different timelines of the Gundam series. Originally, there were only 5 Evolve episodes produced from 2001 to 2003, but then Bandai started to create new Evolve episodes in 2004. Which is interesting. I don't know if there's any background information on what got them to continue it or do this in the first place. I kind of like the idea of just additional supplemental official Gundam stories. The clips often show alternative scenes, side stories, or omakes. So is that an homage and remake put together? For fans and feature a mix of animation media, which go from traditional cells to 3D CG rendering to even cel-shaded 2D animation. That's pretty cool. I guess it's a way for them to use different technologies. The intention was to show the Gundams and other mobile suits in high-quality CGI. 15 episodes were released in 3 separate volumes, namely Gundam Evolve ... /plus, Gundam Evolve Omega, Gundam Evolve Alpha. And each volume consists of 5 episodes. The logo features a battered core fighter floating upside down as seen on the final episode of the original mobile Gundam series. Again, early 2000 through mid to late 2000s. That's kind of like what we saw with MS Igloo. Interesting time with Bandai / Sunrise where they're like kind of experimenting on the different types of ways that they could tell Gundam stories using animation. So it's like CGI or different types of 2D animation. There seems to be a lot of episodes here. The first one being RX-78-2. We're going to touch on that one here shortly. But then an episode about the Mark II. It looks like they're typically names of Gundams actually throughout. So it'll be interesting. I plan to make this a series of videos, so I'll kind of go through all the other episodes further down. Let's see here. So English release on February 23rd, 2016. Nozomi Entertainment announced that they had the license for Gundam Evolve. The DVD was released on May 3rd, 2016. It is available from Right Stuff website and other retailers. So interesting that at 2016, that's not too long ago, and not as a Blu-ray, but as a DVD. I guess it's just a cheap way to just get it available to people anyway, which is cool in the first place, just to make it have a wider release. But let's look at this first episode, RX-78-2 Gundam. Flagship Lazar de Cyprus, cipher code is Gamma Ein or Een. I don't know. So what we're seeing here with this first episode is it's pretty interesting. The idea is showing Amuro, and actually let me read the synopsis up here so I'm not just making up stuff as we go. So Universal Century Amuro Ray, waiting to start in the final battle of Abaoku, sits in his RX-78-2 Gundam while the other forces are already fighting. So this is during the end of Abaoku. He recalls many of the battles he has fought until now, beginning with his fight against the mobile armor Elmith, when he killed Lala Soon. Afterward, he recalls the battle against the Black Tri-Stars, Ramba Ral, and Char Aznable. He also thinks about the people important to him who died, including Ryu Jose, Matilda Ajan, and Slicker Law. Then he hears Sailor Mass, who tells him that if they can overcome war, humanity should as well. Soon afterward, Amuro launches, so I just kind of spoiled the whole thing. This episode is the only one that features no CG. Instead, it is a short clip show of the original Mobile Suit Gundam series. So that's kind of why I'm using this episode about the Evolve series as kind of a primer to how to obtain and what Evolve is, and then just to touch on the first episode, because it really just is clips of the original show. And I could be mistaken, but it looks like there's maybe some animation that is brand new to this. The one thing that's really weird, and I don't know if this is like an artistic thing, but like they did it where it was like a fight scene divided into 4, then 8, then 12 or whatever. And it's like, I don't know what they were getting at with that, but yeah, there we go. It's pretty wild. Anyway, Yeah, December 31st, 0079. Yeah, the idea is white base. So again, I don't know how much of it is actually all new animation. Sometimes it looks like it is, unless there's just some stuff from the movie trilogy that was updated that they're using here. I will admit I haven't watched the movie trilogy as much as I've just watched the whole series. But yeah, then really it's from this point of view of Amuro Ray in the RX-78-2 thinking about his battles. I kind of like the idea of just taking a moment for the main antagonist or protagonist in the RX-78-2, just kind of like thinking about what he went through as he's been going through this war. Because really, if you think about the character of Amuro, what more can a character go through for change? There's been death. There's been having to go from being a boy to like killing people. And it's kind of crazy. But at the same time, I feel like, yeah, like some of that looks, some of the stuff here, and I don't know if I can, and I don't know how much I could show off, and then it will say like, oh, you're, copyright claim. This is our stuff. To kind of show off where sometimes the animation looks a little different. I think it's like the lighting techniques and shading make it look a little more modern, but still within kind of like the old school way of doing it. I've done something I can never make right. So it really is showing Amuro going through like, oh yeah, when he first encountered the Zakus. And you can tell obviously it's the older animation. And then this is a pretty cool shot. It's like a whole bunch of fights Amuro got into. Showing, yeah, even Makuve's suit and just some other fight scenes of Amuro. It's done pretty well. Yeah, it's interesting. I think it really only makes sense for people that have watched Gundam to look at this and to kind of see it as, oh yeah, that's, neat. Because other than that, it doesn't really have much substance to really portray anything new to the viewer of Gundam. Yeah, just kind of going through the timeline here just to see. Yeah, and it gets to a point where it starts playing Gallant Char, that song, Gallant Char. The kind of like dance song of Char Aznavour, which is actually pretty cool. It's a great tune. There is, I guess, fighting the Big Zam right there, and then Char. Again, it's really just clips. This is why this is the one episode that's not too big of a deal. But I guess it's a good way to set off sort of this series of little shorts about the Gundam universe. And the reason this animation looks new to me, and it seems like it is just because of the way the shading looks. The shading looks a little more defined than we would see in like the older stuff, even if the movie trilogy did kind of improve some of that. Yeah, here's another shot where, especially the way he looks right there is awesome. So if you're a fan of Gundam, this is actually a good way to kind of get a cooler look at some of that stuff. Amuro, we can transcend war. So Sayla kind of giving him a pep talk, which is pretty cool. And that's what gets him to launch out of the white. Yeah, I think this is where we're seeing some newer animation happen. Like even that looks like brand new drawing and animation. Very cool stuff, though. Again, if you're like a fan of Gundam, and it kind of ends like that. So, yeah, I guess that's all I got on that. So, yeah, that is the first episode of Gundam Evolve. And I can't wait to get through the other ones because I think as we go through these and as I continue this series, we'll start getting some more background information on some other mobile suits within, not just UC Timeline, but even Seed and Wing as well. Yeah, maybe get some other cool lore or factoids out of that. But yeah, has anyone else watched Evolve? It's one of those things where no one really talks about it because it's not like it's any substantial Gundam storytelling where it's like, oh, are you watching all of Gundam? Yeah, make sure after this one you check out Evolve. It's just kind of out there in the ether. That's why we don't even have a Blu-ray of it. But it's just neat that it exists. Anything that has some additional lore is pretty fun anyway. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk later.